My name is Elena Marquez, 31, and I never imagined that unlocking my cafe's door after a whirlwind trip would shatter my world. I'd spent 3 grueling days at a small business conference in Seattle, dreaming of my cozy apartment above, the cafe I'd poured my heart into. Instead, I found my parking lot packed with unfamiliar cars, and my cafe transformed into a chaotic family reunion I hadn't been invited to. A banner strung across my pastry counter read, "Family Ties. Endure," mocking me as I stood frozen in the doorway. Before I dive deeper, where are you watching from today? Share in the comments if you've ever felt like a stranger in your own space. Trust me, what unfolded next will show you why family doesn't always mean loyalty. Let me backtrack to explain why finding my cafe overrun with relatives hit me like a betrayal. For the past 6 years, I've run Sol y Luna, a cafe in Santa Fe, New Mexico, serving artisanal coffee and homemade empanadas that reflect my heritage. It's more than a business, it's my sanctuary, built from scratch after years of saving and dreaming. The Seattle conference was a milestone. I pitched my expansion plans to investors, hoping to open a second location. My presentation on sustainable sourcing won praise, and I left with 2 potential backers eager to collaborate. My family never got it. Why sink everything into a cafe when you could get a stable job? My mother, Carmen, would say, as if my sister Sophia's career in real estate was inherently superior. I respect all paths, but their dismissal of my passion stung deeply. Growing up in our adobe-style home on the outskirts of Santa Fe, Sophia was the star. My academic awards were acknowledged with a nod, while Sophia's track meets were family spectacles. "She's got such spirit," Mom would beam, while my achievements were just expected. The pattern persisted. Sophia's prom queen crowning warranted a family party. My college scholarship went unnoticed. My father, Miguel, offered quiet support before his stroke 4 years ago. He'd leave sticky notes in my recipe books. "Proud of you, mija," but never in front of Mom or Sophia. After Dad's death, the house became too much for Mom financially. Sophia suggested we buy it together. She and her husband, Daniel, would take the main house. I'd have the upstairs apartment, and Mom would move into a converted casita. It seemed like a chance to mend old wounds. I used my cafe's early profits for my share of the down payment. Sophia and Daniel relied on his parents' help. We signed a co-ownership agreement, outlining shared spaces and rules, at my lawyer Elena's insistence, paperwork that felt overly formal for family then. It worked decently for 3 years. I was often away at food festivals or supplier meetings, while Sophia and Daniel hosted neighborhood barbecues, always conveniently scheduled when I was swamped at the cafe. Mom would pop into my apartment unannounced, rearranging my spice racks to help, despite my requests for a heads up. Your mother, Elena. I don't need permission to visit," she'd say. I tried to connect, hosting taco nights when I could, attending family holidays where Sophia's real estate deals dominated conversation while my cafe's success, a feature in Food and Wine magazine, went unmentioned. Last spring, I won a regional entrepreneurship award. No one brought it up, but Sophia's new office opening was toasted endlessly. 3 months ago, I texted Sophia about my Seattle trip, asking her to watch my apartment. Her reply, "All good, have fun, place will be quiet." That text haunted me as I stepped into my cafe that Friday evening. The conference had been a triumph. Investors loved my pitch, and one Ms. Harper offered mentorship. I skipped her dinner invite to catch an early flight, eager to rest. I'd even grabbed gifts, a ceramic mug for Mom, local stout for Daniel, and lavender shortbread for Sophia, hoping we'd share a celebratory moment. The Uber couldn't reach my cafe's lot, blocked by cars. At first, I thought a nearby gallery was hosting an event. Then I recognized Aunt Rosa's red pickup, Cousin Diego's Jeep. My heart sank. Music and laughter spilled from my cafe's open windows. Through the glass, I saw the banner. "Family Ties Endure." My hands shook as I unlocked the door. Inside it was chaos. Overlapping conversations, mariachi music, kids running between tables. The counter was littered with plates. My espresso machine was buried under soda cans. Cousin Lila spotted me first, her beer bottle pausing midair. "Elena, you're back early." Heads turned, conversations stilled. I stood clutching my suitcase, scanning the crowd. Aunts, uncles, cousins, distant relatives I hadn't seen since Dad's funeral. Uncle Javier was serving tamales from my kitchen. Kids played tag around my handmade tables. My recipe notebooks had been pushed aside for photo albums. Mom was in the corner, laughing with older relatives, until our eyes met. Her smile faltered. Sophia emerged from the kitchen with a tray of drinks, nearly dropping it when she saw me. Daniel followed, whispering something that made her blush. My cafe was unrecognizable. Family photos, mostly of Sophia, Mom, or groups I wasn't in, lined the walls. A slideshow played on a laptop showing vacations I'd never been invited to. A family tree poster highlighted Sophia's branch in gold. Elena, Mom approached, her hug stiff. We thought you were back tomorrow. My voice was steady despite my rage. Conference ended early. Sophia's smile was forced. Surprise! Just a little family get-together? Little? I gestured at the crowd. There's gotta be 80 people here. 82, Daniel corrected, grinning. Marquez Gonzalez reunion. Been planning for months. Even great-uncle Luis came from Texas. Months, I echoed. No one had told me. Aunt Clara, Dad's sister, approached. Is this Miguel's girl? You've grown so much. Good. To see you, Aunt Clara, I said tightly. Sophia's been wonderful, she continued. Showed us the cafe, all the upgrades since your dad passed. Said you're always working. My jaw clenched. Did she? Cousin Mateo mentioned booking his flight 6 months ago. Aunt Teresa thanked me for letting them use my cafe, permission I never gave. Uncle Ramon had slept in my apartment's guest room, my private space violated. Upstairs, my apartment door was unlocked. Air mattresses covered my living room. My bed had foreign sheets. Recipe sketches were taped over my award plaques. I stood, trembling, as the party roared below. My phone buzzed with a text from my friend Carla. Home yet? How was Seattle? Before I could reply, Sophia appeared. Can we talk? Her unease was clear. Look, Elena, this wasn't meant to upset you. It just grew. Who planned this? I asked. Mom, Daniel, me, she admitted. Some cousins helped. I waited. We thought with you in Seattle, the timing was perfect. Perfect to use my cafe without asking? To let people into my apartment? It's our property too, she snapped. We co-own it. My apartment is my space, I shot back. We agreed. Mom and Daniel joined us, uninvited. What's this about? Mom demanded. Guests are asking where you went. I faced them. Why wasn't I told about this reunion in my own cafe? Mom waved it off. We didn't want to bother you. You're always busy. Sophia said it'd be quiet, I said, turning to her. You lied. Her silence was answer enough. The conversation that followed would change everything. I realized this wasn't just a misunderstanding, it was a calculated move, and I was done being invisible in my own family. The air in my apartment felt heavy, with the scent of someone else's cooking, chile and cumin, not my usual blend. I sat on my couch, now pushed against the wall to make room for air mattresses, and faced Sophia, Mom, and Daniel. Their defensive postures told me this confrontation was one they'd hoped to avoid. Why wasn't I told? I repeated, my voice steady despite the betrayal simmering inside. Mom sighed, brushing imaginary lint from her skirt. Elena, it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. We knew you were tied up with your conference. Spur of the moment? I challenged. Mateo booked flights 6 months ago. Aunt Teresa's been sleeping in my guest room for days. Sophia shifted uncomfortably. Okay, maybe we should have said something, but you're always so focused on the cafe. We didn't think you'd want to be bothered. Bothered? I stood, needing to move. This is my home, Sophia. My business. You let dozens of people take it over without a word. Daniel stepped forward, hands raised like he was calming a storm. They're family, Elena, not strangers. And this is our property, too. We have a right to use it. Not my private apartment, I snapped. Our agreement is clear. My space is off limits without consent. Mom's eyes narrowed. You're making this bigger than it is. We thought you'd be happy to host family. It's what your father would have wanted. The mention of Dad stung, but I refused to let it derail me. Dad would have asked me first. He respected boundaries. A knock interrupted us. Cousin Javier poked his head in. Sophia, they need you downstairs. Something about the dessert schedule. Be right there, she said, her smile vanishing as the door closed. I noticed a backpack shoved under my coffee table, unzipped, spilling papers. Kneeling, I saw they were bank statements, not mine. Sophia's name, alongside Daniel's, with overdraft notices and loan denials. My stomach twisted as the reunion's timing clicked. What's this? I held up the papers. Sophia snatched them away. That's private. In my apartment, I countered. Seems like you've made yourselves at home. They needed space for guests' things, Mom said quickly. No one's snooping. A crash came from my kitchenette. I rushed over to find a girl, maybe 8, standing amid broken ceramic. My grandmother's hand-painted mugs, keepsakes from her Tao's pottery days. I was just looking, she mumbled. I turned to the trio. This is unacceptable. They're just mugs, Mom said. Family matters more. I laughed bitterly. Family? Is that what you call this? Sophia crossed her arms. You're never around, Elena. Always at the cafe or some food expo. When did you last call Uncle Ramon or visit Lila's new twins? The hypocrisy floored me. Maybe because I'm never invited. I didn't even know Lila was pregnant. Daniel cleared his throat. Look, while we're here, Sophia and I were thinking, since you're rarely home, maybe you'd consider selling us your share of the house. We could use the space, especially with our plans to expand the family. There it was, the real motive. The reunion, the invasion, the financial papers, it all connected. Before I could respond, Aunt Rosa appeared. Carmen, we need you for the family tree discussion. Mom shot me a look. We'll talk later. Don't ruin this for everyone, Elena. As they left, I stood alone, the party's noise vibrating through the floorboards. Laughter, clinking glasses, a guitar strumming, my family celebrating without me. I had 2 choices: storm downstairs and demand answers, cementing their narrative of me as the difficult one, or act strategically. I chose the latter. I grabbed a duffel bag from my closet and packed essentials: clothes, toiletries, my laptop, and the cafe's financial records. I photographed everything: the displaced furniture, the broken mugs, the backpacks in my space, date-stamping each image. A soft knock broke my focus. Aunt Clara, Dad's sister, stood at the door, her silver hair catching the light. May I come in? She asked. I nodded, letting her navigate the chaos. I didn't know you weren't told about this, she said, sitting on my displaced armchair. Sophia said you were too busy but had approved everything. I shook my head, zipping my bag. First I'm hearing of it. Clara's face fell. Your father would have been furious. They've been in your space, Elena. Sophia even suggested you might sell your share soon. Interesting timing, I said, my suspicions confirmed. What else have you heard? Clara glanced at the door. Last night I overheard Sophia and Daniel with their bank guy. They're in deep, bad real estate deals, credit card debt. This reunion feels like a way to play the generous hosts, maybe to soften you up for their offer. The financial papers flashed in my mind. I need to think this through, I said. Can you keep this quiet? Of course, she promised, then handed me a small box. I meant to give you this tomorrow, but you should have it now. Inside was a silver charm bracelet, a tiny coffee cup pendant glinting. Your dad bought it after your cafe opened. He was so proud, Elena. Said, you are building something real. My throat tightened. Thank you. After Clara left, I texted Carla. Need a place to crash. Family mess. Can I call? Her reply was instant. Always. What's going on? I didn't explain yet, instead slipping downstairs through the crowd. Most relatives were too absorbed to notice me, though a few waved absently. In the cafe, Sophia was arranging desserts, using my heirloom serving trays without permission. Elena, she called, too cheerful. Can you grab more napkins from the storeroom? Got work emails to handle, I lied smoothly. Heading. Out for a bit. Her relief was obvious. No worries, we've got this. As I reached the door, I overheard Cousin Mateo asking Daniel about local property prices. Great investment, Daniel said. Once we finalize things, we'll redo the upstairs for our family. His confidence in my surrender fueled my resolve. I drove to a downtown hotel, the quiet lobby a stark contrast to my cafe's chaos. Business or personal? The clerk asked. Survival, I replied. In my room, I spread out my photos and made notes. Legal options, repair costs, next steps. By midnight, I'd emailed my lawyer, Elena, with a summary and the images. Kevin's texts piled up, increasingly urgent. Where are you? Mom's freaking out. This is embarrassing, Elena. I ignored them, texting only Clara to say I was safe. Morning brought more messages. Sophia's now accusing me of overreacting, Mom claiming I'd hurt her. I ordered coffee, savoring the irony of needing to buy it, and called Elena. This is a violation of your agreement, she said after hearing me out. Meet me at 10, bring everything. At her office, we reviewed the co-ownership terms. Private spaces were sacred and events over 15 people needed mutual consent. We can demand damages or force a property sale, Elena said. What about Mom's casita? I asked. Her residency depends on both owners' agreement. Any sale would require renegotiation. We planned a measured response, document damages, demand accountability, and explore my options without emotional entanglement. I left feeling grounded, ready to reclaim my space and my voice. This wasn't just about a reunion, it was about years of being sidelined. And I was done letting family define my worth. The hotel room's silence was a balm after the chaos of my cafe. I spent the morning after my meeting with Elena, my lawyer, organizing my thoughts and evidence. The photos of my invaded apartment, displaced furniture, broken mugs, strangers' belongings, sat on my laptop, a digital testament to the betrayal. My phone buzzed relentlessly, 19 missed calls, mostly from Sophia and Mom, their texts veering. From concern to accusation. Elena, you're worrying everyone, Mom wrote. This isn't how family behaves, Sophia added. I ignored them, focusing instead on my next steps. Elena's office had clarified my position. The co-ownership agreement with Sophia was ironclad. My apartment was my private domain, and hosting an event of 82 people without my consent breached multiple clauses. We can pursue damages for property violations and emotional distress, Elena had said, or push for a partition sale splitting the proceeds. The idea of selling felt like surrender, but keeping the house tied me to a family that didn't respect me. I needed time to decide. I drove to my bank to secure my cafes, financial records and Dad's old recipe journal, a keepsake I couldn't risk losing. Next, I met my financial advisor, Rosa, to ensure my accounts were untangled from any shared assets with Sophia. You're doing the right thing, protecting your interests, Rosa said. This reunion sounds like a power play. Her words echoed Aunt Clara's suspicions about Sophia and Daniel's financial troubles, confirmed by the bank statements I'd glimpsed. Back at the hotel, I researched my options. A text from Carla, my best friend, broke my focus. You okay? Need me to come over? I called her, recounting the surreal scene at the cafe. They used your place like it was theirs, she said, outraged. Stay with us tonight. I declined, needing solitude to plan, but promised to meet for coffee soon. By afternoon, I'd booked a professional cleaning service to assess my apartment after the reunion ended and contacted a locksmith to secure my space. Returning to the café, Sunday evening, I found the parking lot empty, the silence eerie after the previous day's chaos. The front door's lock was sticky, likely from tape used to keep it open for guests, another violation. Inside, my cafe was a mess. Tables misaligned, coffee grounds spilled on the counter, a faint salsa stain on my custom aprons. Upstairs, my apartment was worse. My bed had been used by multiple guests, judging by the mismatched linens. My office desk bore juice stains, and my bathroom still held shards of my grandmother's mugs. I photographed everything methodically, noting each violation. As I worked, an email arrived from Ms. Harper, the Seattle investor. She'd connected me with a Portland-based cafe chain interested in partnering on my expansion. Your sustainable sourcing model is exactly what we need, she wrote. Can we discuss next steps this week? The opportunity was thrilling, a chance to grow Soli Luna beyond Santa Fe, but the timing felt overwhelming amidst the family drama. Have you ever had to balance a life-changing opportunity with family chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this story's hitting home, give it a like and subscribe for more. Your stories and support keep me going, and I'd love to hear how you've navigated moments when family crossed your boundaries. I was labeling photos when Sophia's voice called from downstairs. Elena, your car's outside. Where have you been? I texted back, documenting damage. Please respect my space. I'll communicate in writing. Footsteps climbed the stairs, followed by a knock. This is ridiculous, Sophia said through the door. You vanished during a family event. People were asking about you. I stayed silent, continuing my inventory. Her knocking persisted, then stopped, replaced by a text. You're acting like a stranger, not family. Mom's messages followed, dripping with guilt. You're breaking my heart, Elena. This reunion was for all of us. I forwarded them to Elena, my lawyer, then called the locksmith. He arrived within hours, installing new locks and a security system that would alert me to any entry. By evening, my apartment was secure, a small victory in reclaiming my space. Drafted an email to Sophia, detailing the co-ownership violations, unauthorized use of my apartment, property damage, and breach of privacy. I attached photos and repair estimates, copying Elena. Then I composed a polite email to every reunion attendee, expressing regret for not being informed and hoping they'd enjoyed their time. I mentioned my potential cafe expansion, setting the narrative straight. I wasn't the absent sister. I'd been deliberately excluded. Responses trickled in, apologies from cousins who'd assumed I'd approved the event. Aunt Rosa called, mortified. Sophia said you were fine with it, she said. I slept in your room, Elena. I'm so sorry. Her words confirmed the deception. I thanked her, adding her statement to my file. Monday morning, I returned to the cafe to find Daniel in the kitchen, inspecting my espresso machine. What's this about new locks? He demanded. I'm protecting my property, I replied evenly. We need to discuss your email, he said, holding up his phone. Legal threats? Really? Not threats, I corrected. Consequences for violating our agreement. This is family, Elena, he said, echoing Sophia. You're turning it into a courtroom. You made it that when you used my home without permission, I said. I've outlined my terms. Consult your lawyer. He stormed out, already dialing Sophia. I headed to a meeting with Ms. Harper's Portland contact, a welcome distraction. The chain's CEO, Mr. Larson, was enthusiastic. Your cafe's model, local ingredients, community focus, could scale beautifully, he said. We'd fund a second location, with you overseeing branding. The offer was a dream, but it meant more time away from Santa Fe, complicating the house situation. I drove to a quiet park to think, sketching pros and cons in Dad's recipe journal. Selling my share felt like erasing my roots, but keeping it tethered me to Sophia's disregard. I called Elena, who suggested a middle path, retain ownership, but hire a property manager to rent my apartment, creating income and distance. I met with Vista Property Management that afternoon. Their director, Mr. Torres, outlined their services: tenant screening, maintenance, rent collection, and acting as a buffer with Sophia. We'll need to inspect your space, he said. Given the co-ownership, we'll establish clear protocols for shared areas. I scheduled the inspection for when Sophia and Daniel would be out, wanting no confrontation. Back at the hotel, I researched Portland's market and visa options, in case the expansion took me there. Sophia's texts resumed. You're serious? About this legal stuff? Mom's a wreck because of you. I replied only to practical matters, keeping emotions out. Mom's messages grew manipulative. Your father would hate this division. My health suffering, Elena. I sent a brief email. Sorry you're unwell. I've sent your insurance details. Please update me. The inspection went smoothly. Mr. Torres documented the damage, stains, broken mugs, scuffed floors, and promised a report. Sophia arrived mid-inspection, furious. What's this about renting your apartment? It's my right, I said, letting Mr. Torres explain the legalities. Sophia's protests faded as he cited the agreement. She retreated, calling Mom, no doubt to rally her support. That night, I prepared for a follow-up call with Mr. Larson. The Portland opportunity was real, but so was the family mess. I was done being the invisible daughter, the accommodating sister. Whatever came next, it would be on my terms, built on the strength Dad saw in me, not the role my family tried to force me into. The cafe's familiar scent of roasted coffee was absent, replaced by the stale tang of spilled beer and lingering spices from the reunion. I stood in my apartment, now secured with new locks, surveying the damage as the property management inspection's findings sank in. Mr. Torres's report detailed $2,300 in repairs, scuffed floors, stained linens, and my grandmother's shattered mugs, irreplaceable heirlooms. Each item fueled my resolve to hold Sophia accountable. My phone buzzed with another text from her. You're blowing this out of proportion. Call me. I forwarded it to Elena, my lawyer, and continued packing. The Portland opportunity loomed large. Mr. Larson's team had sent a detailed proposal, funding for a second Sol Y Luna location, with me retaining creative control. It was a chance to expand my vision, but it meant leaving Santa Fe for months, maybe years. The house situation complicated things. Selling my share to Sophia felt like severing my last tie to Dad's memory, yet keeping it meant ongoing battles. I needed a plan that preserved my stake while freeing me to chase my dreams. I met Elena at her office to finalize our strategy. The property management route is your strongest play, she said, spreading out the co-ownership agreement. It generates income, maintains your ownership, and forces Sophia to respect boundaries. She drafted a formal amendment. My apartment would be rented, with Vista Property Management handling everything. Shared spaces, like the laundry room, would have strict schedules. Mom's casita residency was protected, but with clear rules against unannounced visits. Send this to Sophia via certified mail, Elena advised. It's professional and establishes a legal trail. I nodded, feeling a clarity I hadn't in days. What if she pushes back? She can try, Elena said, but the agreement's clauses are airtight. If she escalates, we can pursue damages or a partition sale. The idea of selling still nagged at me, but this plan gave me control without emotional entanglement. I left her office and drove to Vista's headquarters, where Mr. Torres confirmed a tenant, a visiting chef from Denver, would move in next month. We'll handle repairs and ensure Sophia complies, he assured me. Back at the hotel, I prepared for a video call with Mr. Larson. His enthusiasm was infectious. Your cafe's ethos, community, sustainability, resonates with our brand, he said. We'd like you in Portland for 6 months to oversee the launch. I disclosed the family situation, wanting transparency. I'm resolving some property issues, but I'm committed. He nodded. Take 2 weeks to finalize things. We're excited to have you. The call left me energized but conflicted. Portland was a fresh start, but leaving meant trusting the management company to shield me from Sophia's manipulations. My phone pinged with another message from Mom. Your father would be ashamed of this legal nonsense. I replied briefly, I'm protecting my rights. Please respect my need for space. Her response was immediate. You're tearing us apart. I saved it for Elena, refusing to engage further. Tuesday morning, I returned to the cafe to meet the cleaning service. The crew was thorough, scrubbing stains and cataloging damage. Sophia appeared mid-clean, arms crossed. This is overkill. Elena, you're treating us like criminals. I'm treating this like a business, I said. My business, which you used without permission. She scoffed. It's our house. You can't just rent it out. Mr. Torres, who'd joined to oversee the cleaning, interjected. She can, per the agreement. We've notified you of the rental plan. Sophia's face reddened, but she backed off, muttering about calling her lawyer. I stayed focused, helping the crew document a cracked table leg, another casualty of the reunion. By afternoon, I'd sent the certified amendment to Sophia and Daniel, outlining the rental terms and repair costs. Elena suggested a separate letter for Mom, reinforcing her casita rights but setting boundaries. Keep it formal, she said. Emotion clouds judgment. That evening, I met Carla at a quiet diner. Over enchiladas, I vented. They planned this for months, Carla. Months. And lied to my face. She shook her head. They wanted you out of the picture, probably to push that sale. You're doing the right thing, taking control. Her support grounded me. Portland's huge, she added. You've earned this. I smiled, feeling lighter. It's scary, but it's mine. Wednesday brought a surprise. An email from Aunt Clara, forwarding a photo of Dad and me at Solway Luna's opening, both of us grinning behind the counter. He was so proud, she wrote. Don't let them make you doubt your worth. The image strengthened my resolve. I replied, thanking her and asking her to keep our talks private. She agreed, adding, Sophia's telling everyone you abandoned the family. I set them straight. Her words confirmed the narrative Sophia was spinning. I forwarded the email to Elena, adding it to my growing file. Thursday, I met with Rosa, my financial advisor, to finalize my account's separation from the house. Your cafe's profits are solid, she said. Portland could double them. Renting your apartment will cover repairs and give you a cushion. I nodded, feeling the pieces align. Friday, I drove to the cafe to check the cleaning progress. The space was nearly restored, though the absence of my grandmother's mugs left a pang. As I adjusted a table, Daniel appeared, his expression tense. We got your letter, he said. This rental thing, you're really doing it? Yes, I said, keeping my tone neutral. It's within my rights. He ran a hand through his hair. Sophia's freaking out. Mom's not sleeping. Can't we talk without lawyers? We tried talking, I reminded him. You planned a reunion in my home without telling me. This is the consequence. He sighed. We thought you wouldn't care. You're always at work. That's not an excuse, I said. My space, my rules. He left, muttering about legal fees. I texted Elena. Daniel's pushing for a talk, staying firm. She replied, Good, stick to writing. Saturday, I received a call from Mr. Larson's assistant, confirming my Portland trip in 10 days. The timeline pushed me to act fast. I scheduled a final inspection with Mr. Torres and began sorting my belongings. What to take, store, or donate. Sophia's text grew desperate. You're ruining Mom's health. This tenant nonsense is tearing us apart. I ignored them, but Mom's next message hit harder. I'm in the hospital, Elena, stress-related. Is this what you wanted? I called her doctor, confirming it was a panic attack, not a heart issue. I emailed Mom. I'm sorry you're struggling. Please follow your doctor's advice. I'm here if you need practical help. Her reply was curt. You're not here. You left. I saved it, refusing to take the bait. Sunday, I met with Mr. Torres at the café. The repairs were nearly, complete, and the tenant's lease was finalized. Sophia's been cooperative, if grudgingly, he said. We'll manage her. As I packed my laptop, an email from Ms. Harper arrived. A grant opportunity for sustainable businesses, perfect for Sol y Luna's expansion. You're a natural fit, she wrote. Apply by next month. The possibility of funding my vision without relying solely on Portland's chain was exhilarating. I replied, expressing interest, and called Carla to share the news. You're unstoppable, she said. They tried to push you out, but you're building an empire. That night, I lay in my hotel bed, staring at the ceiling. Portland, the grant, the rental plan, it was all coming together. But the family wound lingered. I clutched Dad's charm bracelet, its coffee cup pendant a reminder of his belief in me. I wasn't running away. I was running towards something better. Sophia and Mom could rewrite the narrative, but I was writing my own story now, one where my worth wasn't up for debate. The faint hum of my hotel room's air conditioner was a stark contrast to the lively chatter that had filled my cafe during the uninvited reunion. I sat at the desk, reviewing the grant application for sustainable businesses Ms. Harper had sent. It was a chance to fund Sol y Luna's expansion independently, a lifeline that could keep my vision untethered from corporate strings. But the family drama loomed, threatening to pull me back into chaos. My phone showed 34 missed calls, Sophia, Mom, even distant cousins caught in the crossfire. Their texts alternated between pleas and accusations. Elena, call me. This is getting out of hand, from Sophia. You're killing me with this nonsense, from Mom. I saved each one, forwarding them to Elena, my lawyer, as evidence of their refusal to respect my boundaries. The rental plan was in motion. Vista Property Management had finalized the lease with the Denver chef, who'd move into my apartment next week. Repairs were nearly complete, though the absence of my grandmother's mugs left an ache. Mr. Torres assured me Sophia had been informed of the tenant's arrival and the shared space schedule. She's not happy, he said, but she's complying. I nodded, knowing compliance didn't mean acceptance. Sophia's latest email, forwarded by her new lawyer, demanded a meeting to resolve this amicably. I agreed, but only on neutral ground with Elena present. Monday morning, I drove to the cafe to oversee the final cleaning. The space was almost restored, tables polished, counter gleaming, but it felt less like home. I found a child's drawing taped to my office door, a relic from the reunion. I peeled it off, adding it to my documentation. As I checked the espresso machine, Mom appeared, her face drawn. Elena, this has to stop, she said, clutching her purse. You're turning our home into a stranger's rental. It's my home too, I replied, keeping my tone even. You violated our agreement. This is the consequence. Her eyes welled up. Your father would hate this. He wanted us together. He wanted us to respect each other, I countered. You didn't tell me about the reunion. You let people into my space. She waved a hand. It was for family. You're always so busy. We thought you wouldn't care. That's the problem, I said. You decided for me. She left without another word, her silence louder than her protests. I texted Elena. Mom showed up, still pushing guilt. Meeting still on? She replied, confirmed for Wednesday. Stay firm. I spent the day preparing for Portland, packing light and researching the city's food scene. The grant application consumed my evenings, its questions forcing me to articulate Sol y Luna's mission: community, heritage, sustainability. It felt like a love letter to the cafe I'd built. Tuesday, I met Carla for lunch at a taqueria. You're handling this like a boss, she said, dipping a chip in salsa. They expected you to cave. I sighed. Part of me wants to sell and be done, but that feels like letting them win. She nodded. You're not just fighting for the house, it's about being seen. Her words hit home. My whole life, I'd been the invisible daughter, my achievements overshadowed by Sophia's charm. This was my stand. Wednesday's meeting was at Elena's office, a sleek conference room that kept emotions in check. Sophia and Daniel arrived with their lawyer, a stern woman named Ms. Rivera. Sophia's eyes were red, Daniel's jaw tight. Ms. Rivera opened with a proposal. Sophia would buy my share at 10% below market value, citing family harmony. Elena countered, full market value plus damages, or the rental plan proceeds. Your clients breached the agreement, Elena said, sliding over my photos and repair estimates. Ms. Marquez is within her rights to rent her space. Sophia leaned forward. This isn't just about rights, Elena. It's our home. You're bringing strangers into it. You brought 82 strangers into my space, I said calmly, without my consent. Daniel's face flushed. We're family. We didn't think you'd mind. That's the issue, I said. You didn't think about me at all. The room fell silent. Ms. Rivera admitted their case was weak. Sophia's finances couldn't support a buyout at market value. The rental plan stood. Sophia stormed out, Daniel trailing her. Elena smiled faintly. You held your ground. They're rattled. I exhaled, feeling both empowered and exhausted. Back at the hotel, I finalized the grant application, pouring my passion into every word. Submitting it felt like a declaration of independence. Thursday, I visited Aunt Clara at her small adobe home. She greeted me with a hug and a plate of bizcochitos. You're doing what your father would have done, she said, standing up for what's yours. She shared stories of Dad's quiet pride in me, how he'd bragged about my cafe to neighbors. Sophia's spinning this as you abandoning us, she warned, but some family members are questioning her story. I nodded, grateful for her support. I'm heading to Portland soon, I said. The cafe's expanding. Her eyes lit up. He'd be thrilled, Mija. She handed me a photo of Dad and me at my high school graduation, his arm around me. Keep this close. Friday, I returned to the cafe. The tenant's move-in was scheduled, and Mr. Torres was overseeing final touches. Sophia texted, The tenant's stuff is already here. This feels wrong. I replied, It's legal and necessary. Please work with Vista. Mom's message followed. I can't believe you're doing this to us. I didn't respond, saving it for Elena. That evening, I boarded a flight to Portland, my heart racing with possibility. The city's vibrant food scene awaited, and Mr. Larson's team had arranged a tour of potential sites. Portland was a whirlwind. I spent Saturday exploring neighborhoods, tasting local brews, and meeting the chain's team. Mr. Larson was direct. We want Sol Y Luna's soul in our brand. You'd lead the menu and vibe. I pitched ideas, new Mexican-inspired specials, local sourcing, and they loved it. By Sunday, we'd narrowed down 2 locations. We'll draft a contract, Mr. Larson said. Take a week to decide. Back. In my Portland hotel, I checked my email. Mr. Torres reported the tenant had settled in, though Sophia had complained about noise. Elena forwarded a letter from Sophia's lawyer, reiterating their buyout offer, still below market value. They're desperate, Elena noted. Your rental income is cutting into their control. I smiled, feeling the balance shift. The grant application status was still pending, but Ms. Harper texted, Strong submission, fingers crossed. Monday, I returned to Santa Fe, landing to a barrage of messages. Sophia, the tenant's cooking smells are everywhere. Fix this. Mom, your father's rolling in his grave. I replied to neither, instead meeting Mr. Torres at the cafe. He showed me the tenant's space, my apartment, now organized. But unfamiliar. Sophia's been cooperative, barely, he said. We've got it under control. I thanked him, feeling a strange detachment from the space I'd once called home. Tuesday, I met with Rosa, my financial advisor. The rental income's steady, she said. Combined with Portland, you're set for growth. I nodded, but the weight of family lingered. Carla texted, Proud of you, come over for wine? I joined her, venting about Sophia's pushback. They're scared, Carla said. You're not the pushover they expected. Her words fueled me. I wasn't just protecting my property. I was reclaiming my place in the world. As I prepared for Portland, an email from Ms. Harper arrived. The grant was shortlisted. Prepare for an interview, she wrote. The possibility of funding my own expansion, free from Sophia's shadow, felt like freedom. I slipped Dad's photo into my wallet, his smile a reminder of who I was fighting for. The reunion had exposed their betrayal, but it also revealed my strength. Whatever came next, Portland, the grant, or another family showdown, I'd face it on my terms. The Portland rain tapped against my hotel window as I reviewed the contract from Mr. Larson's team. It outlined a partnership for a second Seoul, Luna location. They'd fund the startup, I'd lead branding and menu design, retaining 60% creative control. It was a dream deal, but signing meant committing to 6 months in Portland, away from the Santa Fe drama. My phone buzzed with notifications, 47 missed calls now, mostly Sophia and Mom, their messages a mix of guilt and fury. Sophia's latest, "Your tenant's disrupting everything. Talk to me." Mom's, "I'm not well, Elena. This stress is too much." I forwarded them to Elena, my lawyer, and focused on the contract. The grant interview was scheduled for tomorrow, a virtual meeting with the sustainability board. If awarded, it could fund an independent expansion, freeing me from corporate ties. Both paths, Portland or the grant, felt like doors to a future I'd fought for, but the family mess tugged at me. Selling my share of the house would cut ties. Cleanly, but it meant erasing Dad's legacy. Renting it out, as I was doing, kept my stake, but required constant vigilance. I needed to decide soon. Back in Santa Fe, Mr. Torres reported the tenant, Chef Maria, was settling in. "She's respectful, but Sophia's complaining about cooking smells and laundry schedules," he said. "We're enforcing the agreement." Elena sent updates. Sophia's lawyer had backed off the buyout push, likely realizing their weak position. "They're stalling," she noted. "Your rental income's hitting their narrative hard." I smiled, imagining Sophia's frustration at losing control. Wednesday, I prepared for the grant interview, rehearsing my pitch. Seoul Y Luna's local sourcing, community focus, and plans for eco-friendly expansion. The board was impressed. "Your cafe's model is scalable yet authentic," one panelist said. "How would the grant accelerate your vision?" I outlined a second location in Albuquerque, using solar power and partnerships with local farmers. "Results in a month," they promised. I left the call energized, texting Carla. "Nailed it," feeling hopeful. Her reply was instant. "You're killing it. Drinks when you're back?" I agreed, craving her grounding presence. Back at the hotel, I reviewed Mr. Larson's contract again. It was solid, but the grant felt more like me. Independent, rooted in my values. I emailed Ms. Harper, thanking her for the opportunity and asking for advice on balancing both paths. Her response was encouraging. "Trust your gut, Elena. You've built something remarkable." Thursday, I toured more Portland sites, each buzzing with potential. One, a corner lot in a bustling arts district, felt perfect for Sol Y Luna's vibe. I imagined Adobe-style decor, my empanadas on the menu, locals sipping my coffee. Mr. Larson joined me, enthusiastic. "This could be it," he said. "Ready to sign?" I hesitated. "I need a week. There's a grant I'm waiting on." He nodded. "Fair, but we're eager to move." Flying back to Santa Fe Friday, I felt torn but empowered. The tenant was fully moved in, and Mr. Torres sent photos of my restored apartment. Clean, but no longer mine. Sophia's text had escalated. "The tenant's using our backyard. This is ridiculous." I replied, "The agreement allows shared space access. Contact Vista." Mom's message followed. "Your father's legacy is this house, not your cafe. You're throwing it away." I saved it, emailing Elena. "More guilt. Anything I should do?" Her reply was swift. "Ignore the bait. We're scheduling a mediation with Sophia's lawyer next week to reinforce the rental terms." I thanked her, focusing on my cafe. Saturday, I reopened Sol Y Luna, the familiar routine soothing. Customers raved about the cleaned space, unaware of the chaos it had hosted. A regular Mrs. Chavez noticed my tension. "You okay, mija?" she asked. I smiled. "Just family stuff." She patted my hand. "Family's tough, but you've got us." Her words lingered as I closed up. I drove to Aunt Clara's, needing her perspective. She welcomed me with fresh sopapillas and tea. "Sophia's telling everyone you're abandoning the family," she said. "But I told them the truth. You were never invited." I sighed. "They planned it behind my back, Clara. Now they want my share of the house." She nodded. "I heard Daniel talking about their debts. This reunion was a show to look stable, maybe to pressure you." Her insight confirmed my suspicions. "Portland's calling," I said. "And there's a grant that could fund my own expansion." Clara's eyes sparkled. "Your dad always said you'd outgrow this town. Go for it." She handed me a small notebook. Dad's old sketches for cafe ideas he'd shared with me as a teen. He'd want you to have this. I hugged her, the notebook a tangible link to his belief in me. Sunday, I met Elena to prep for the mediation. Sophia's lawyer is pushing for a compromise, she said. They'll drop the buyout if you limit the tenants' access to shared spaces. I shook my head. No, the agreement stands. Elena nodded. Good, we'll present the damage, costs, and reinforce your rights. I left feeling fortified, ready to face Sophia without bending. Monday, the mediation was tense. Sophia and Daniel sat across from me, their lawyer repeating the compromise. My clients want harmony, Ms. Rivera said. Restrict the tenant's backyard use and we'll cover half the repair costs. Elena countered, Ms. Marquez's space was violated. Full damages and the rental plan are non-negotiable. Sophia's eyes flashed. You're turning our home into a hotel, Elena. For what? Your cafe? For respect, I said. You didn't give me that when you planned a reunion in my space. Daniel leaned in. We're family. We made a mistake. A calculated one, I shot back. You lied about my trip dates. The room stilled. Ms. Rivera admitted the breach but argued intent wasn't malicious. Elena shut it down. Intent doesn't negate consequences. No agreement was reached, but my position held. Back at the cafe, I found a note slipped under the door, a child's apology for breaking my mugs, signed by cousin Lila's daughter. It softened me momentarily, but Sophia's silence on the matter hardened my resolve. I texted Carla. Mediation was a standoff, feeling steady but tired. She replied, You're a rock star. Come over tonight. I did, her warmth a reminder of chosen family. Tuesday, Ms. Harper called. You're a finalist for the grant, she said. Final interview next week. I nearly dropped the phone. Thank you, I managed. This means everything. I spent the evening refining my pitch, dreaming of an Albuquerque Soli Luna, free from family drama. Sophia's texts resumed. The tenant's cooking is driving Mom crazy. I replied, Work with Vista. I'm done discussing this. Mom's message followed. I'm ashamed of you, Elena. I saved it, but her words stung. I called Aunt Artsy. Clara, needing her steadiness. Mom's blaming me, I said. She's hurting, Clara replied. But she's wrong. You're not the villain here. Her words helped, but the ache persisted. Wednesday, I prepped for Portland's contract decision. Mr. Larson emailed, Need an answer by Friday. The grant's outcome was uncertain, but I leaned toward it, craving independence. As I closed the cafe, a customer left a review. Soli Luna feels like home. The irony wasn't lost on me. My real home was contested, but my cafe was where I belonged. I slipped Dad's notebook into my bag, its pages a reminder of who I was. Sophia and Mom could rewrite the family story, but I was crafting my own, one where my dreams, not their expectations, defined me. The Santa Fe sunrise painted my cafe's windows gold as I prepped for the day, the familiar rhythm of grinding coffee beans grounding me. My phone showed 62 missed calls, Sophia, Mom, and scattered relatives, their messages a crescendo of guilt and demands. Sophia's latest, Your tenant's ruining our home. Let's talk. Mom's, You're breaking my heart, Elena. I saved them for Elena, my lawyer, and focused on the grant interview, now hours away. Winning it could fund an independent Soli Luna in Albuquerque, a dream untangled from Portland's corporate offer. Mr. Larson's deadline loomed. Sign by tomorrow, or lose the Portland deal. The grant felt truer to my vision, but its outcome wasn't guaranteed. The house situation was stable but tense. Chef Maria, my tenant, paid rent on time, but Sophia's complaints persisted. Mr. Torres reported she'd tried blocking backyard access, only relenting when Vista Property Management cited the agreement. Elena's mediation had held firm. My rental plan was legal, damages unpaid. Sophia's lawyer was quiet, likely out of moves. I opened Soli Luna, serving regulars who sensed my distraction. Big things ahead? Mrs. Chavez asked, eyeing my laptop. Hopefully, I said, smiling. The grant interview via video was intense but exhilarating. The panel probed my plans: solar panels, local co-ops, community workshops. Your passions? Clear, one judge said. Results in 2 weeks. I thanked them, my heart racing. Afterward, I texted Carla. Think I crushed it. Nervous but hopeful. She replied, You're unstoppable. Celebrate tonight? I declined, needing to finalize my Portland decision. Back at the cafe, I reviewed Mr. Larson's contract. It was generous, but it meant compromise. The grant offered freedom if I won it. I emailed Ms. Harper, asking for her take. Portland's safe, she replied. The grant's riskier but yours. Choose what aligns with your soul. Her words echoed Dad's quiet faith in me, preserved in his notebook of cafe sketches I kept close. Wednesday, I met Elena to discuss Sophia's silence. They're regrouping, she said. Your tenant's rent is pressure. They can't afford a buyout. She suggested a bold move, offered to sell my share at full market value, with conditions protecting Mom's casita and funding a scholarship in Dad's name for aspiring chefs. It forces their hand, she said. They buy, or you keep renting. I agreed, drafting the offer. Certified mail went out that afternoon. Thursday, Aunt Clara visited the cafe, bringing homemade tamales. Sophia's telling cousins you're greedy, she said. I corrected them. You're fighting for respect. I hugged her, grateful. I might sell, I admitted. Portland or the grant could take me away. She nodded. Your dad left Santa Fe for a year to find himself. You're his daughter. Her words eased my guilt. I gave her a coffee cup charm for her bracelet, a thank you for her loyalty. Friday, Mr. Larson called. Decision time, Elena. I took a breath. I'm waiting on a grant. If it falls through, I'm in. He sighed. We'll hold until next week, but no longer. I thanked him, feeling the weight of choice. That evening, Sophia's lawyer responded to my offer. They'd consider buying, but needed time to secure funds. They're stretched thin, Elena said. This could push them to accept the rental long term. Saturday, I sorted my apartment's remaining belongings, now stored at Carla's. The cafe felt more like home than the house ever had. A text from Mom arrived. I'm trying to understand, Elena. Maybe we should have told you. It was the first crack in her denial. I replied, yes, you should have. I'm open to talking, but respect comes first. Her response was slow. I didn't realize you felt left out. It wasn't an apology, but it was progress. Sunday, I met Carla for brunch. You're rewriting your story, she said. They tried to erase you, but you're shining. I smiled, feeling lighter. Back at the cafe, a customer left a note. Sol y Luna's magic is you. I tucked it into Dad's notebook, a reminder of my worth. Monday, the grant results arrived. I'd won $150,000, enough for an Albuquerque location. I called Ms. Harper, nearly crying. You earned this, she said. Build your empire. I emailed Mr. Larson, declining Portland. The grant's my path, I wrote. He was gracious. Keep in touch. You're going places. Tuesday, I met with Vista to plan the cafe's management during my Albuquerque setup. Mr. Torres suggested hiring a manager, ensuring Sol y Luna thrived in my absence. I interviewed candidates, settling on Anna, a local with a knack for hospitality. Wednesday, Sophia texted, We're pregnant. Thought you should know. I replied, Congratulations. That's big. Her next message surprised me. This house feels empty without you. I'm starting to see things differently. It was raw, unguarded. I responded, I appreciate that. Let's talk when you're ready, but boundaries stay. Our exchange wasn't warm, but it was honest, a foundation to build on. Thursday, I flew to Albuquerque to scout locations, the grant funds ready. A cozy spot near Old Town felt perfect, its courtyard ideal for outdoor seating. I signed a lease, my heart full. Back in Santa Fe, Elena forwarded Sophia's final response. They'd accept the rental plan, unable to buy. You won? Elena said. They're adapting. I smiled, feeling free. Mom emailed. I kept your grant article. It's on the fridge. A small gesture, but it mattered. 6 months later, I returned to Santa Fe for Sol y Luna's anniversary. The Albuquerque cafe was thriving, its opening covered by local press. I met Sophia, Daniel, and their newborn Mia at a park. Mom joined, her demeanor softer. Holding Mia, I saw Dad's eyes in her tiny face. She's beautiful, I said. Mom nodded, teary. Your father would love your cafes, she admitted. I should have said it sooner. The moment wasn't perfect, awkward. Pauses lingered, but it was real. Will you visit Albuquerque? I asked Mom. Maybe brunch before I fly back? She agreed, relieved. We didn't hug, but our goodbye held mutual respect, a step toward something new. Back at Soli Luna, I found a letter from Aunt Clara. Your dad's proud, wherever. He is. Keep shining. Carla toasted me that night to chosen family and new roots. I clinked her glass, feeling liberated. Sophia texted later. Mia's christening is next month. Come if you're free. I saved it, unsure but open. The reunion's banner, family ties endure, hadn't lied, but its truth was mine. To define, I'd built a family of friends, customers, and colleagues who saw me, not the shadow my blood family cast. Have you redefined family on your terms? Share your stories in the comments, and if this journey resonated, like and subscribe for more. Your support fuels these tales of courage and growth. Thank you for joining Elena's story. Here's to building homes where we're truly seen. A year later, Albuquerque's Sol Y Luna won a sustainability award. Sophia emailed, congratulating me. Mom visited, marveling at the café. Our talks were cautious but growing. The house rental ran smoothly, funds supporting my expansion. I wore Dad's coffee cup charm daily, his belief in me a constant. The reunion had broken something, but it built something stronger, a life where I chose my worth, my family, my path. As I prepped for a third location, I wondered, what does family mean to you? The answer I'd learned was in the bonds we forge, not the ones we're born into.